Welcome to Peer2Peer the podcast, brought to you by Rayner. Today we are bringing you a special episode to talk about Rayner's plans for the upcoming ESCRS 2023 Congress in Vienna, including an expansive scientific programme, 2 new and exciting digital launches, and more. For this episode, Rayner's Vice President of Marketing, Chris Willis, is joined by his colleagues Tim Brown and Nestor. Let's dive in.
Welcome to this Peer2Peer the Podcast Congress special, where we take a break from our usual scientific conversation to share with you our plans for the upcoming ESCRS in Vienna. I'm Chris Willis, your host for the episode, and today I'm joined by Nestor, Rayner's Medical Communications Manager, and Tim Brown, Rayner's European Marketing Director. Now, Tim and Anne are usually behind the scenes of this now very popular podcast, so it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you both to the other side of your own podcast. Tim, Anne, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. It is great to be here and experience what surgeons have been going through when we asked them to participate in our successful podcast.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's great to move from behind to in front of the microphone for this one.
Okay, let's get into some details. That is why we're here. Anne, why don't we start with you? Can you talk to us about some of the scientific presentations that our viewers can experience while they spend time in Vienna this year?
Sure. This year, we are again represented by leading surgeons who share their clinical experience with Rayner IOLs. It looks like each year the number of doctors submitting talks on our products grows. So this year we have 14 free paper, 11 presented poster, and 26 e-poster at the ESCRS in Vienna. They cover a range of topics like toric IOLs, enhanced monofocal IOLs, and of course also trifocality. In our case, both capsular bag option and the supplementary reversible option with Socoflex trifocal. I could actually spend an hour telling you what great presentations, poster, and pre-life surgeries we have during the ESCRS in detail. To make it just easier for everyone listening, we have created a dedicated webpage that outlines our Rayner scientific program and other peer-to-peer activities during the Congress. Simply go to www.rayner.com/ESCRS 2023. You can also find the link and further information in the show notes.
Anne, thank you. We have such busy agendas at these meetings. I think that functionality will help massively. I will certainly be online adding some of these presentations to my personal agenda for this meeting, so thank you. Before we switch and hear from Tim, can you talk to us about the symposium that you've been organising on Sunday afternoon, please?
Absolutely, I'd love to. I'm completely delighted that we have Professor Graham Barrett moderating this year's Rayner Symposium. He will be joined by Damien Gatinel, Alon Barsam, and Oliver Findel. They will be discussing balancing quantity and quality of vision with advanced technology IOLs. It's about patients that present themselves for cataract surgery and also wish a high degree of spectacle independence after surgery, at the same time demanding a high quality of vision. In this context, you can expect clinical quality of vision results from comparative studies. The panel will also touch on the importance of patient-reported outcome measures to verify the functional vision performance of the IOLs after surgery. So join us on Sunday, 1 p.m. in room A5 for our lunch symposium, and I hope that you will also enjoy the rest of the scientific program that will be shared.
Thank you, Anne. You'll remember, and many of our listeners will too, the symposium we hosted last year was a standing room only. So I definitely recommend all those who plan to attend, if they would like a seat and some lunch, to get there a couple of minutes early. So thank you for organising this programme. It's fantastic. I appreciate the scientific focus you and the team are bringing to Rayner's activities. Thank you. So, Tim, over to you. When delegates are not soaking up the science, what can they expect to hear from Rayner in Vienna?
Thanks, Chris. So from my side, as you know, we love to launch new products at ESCRS, and this year's no different, but we're shifting our focus onto digital this year with 2 major digital platform updates. So first, we've got Ray Pro. So this is our digital proms platform, and it's designed to provide surgeons with long-term, real-time, patient-reported insights over a 3-year period. Uploading patients is really easy, and we've actually just integrated it with our online IOL calculator Ray Trace, which simplifies that process even further. Something that people may not know is that RayPro now supports CAT-PROM 5 and also all IOL brands and models. Our Digital Innovation Manager, Stan, is going to be on the booth throughout ESCRS. So if there's any surgeons who would like a demonstration of how the platform works, then definitely pop by to learn more. The second digital launch is Peer2Peer. So this is our clinical education platform that's actually bringing you this podcast right now. So we first launched it in 2022, and now it's fully revamped for ESCRS 2023.
Okay, Tim, so let me jump in. We launched this 2022. It's hosting the podcast we're on right now. What can we expect to see with this new and enhanced version we are launching at the meeting this year?
Honestly, over the last 18 months, we've collected so much surgeon-led content. So we've now got over 20 podcasts, 20 webinars, 8 symposiums, and over 100 surgeon interviews. So we've had to completely relook at how this content is organized so it continues to add value to the people who visit our website. I have to admit, it's a great problem to have as a marketeer. So our deep dive into peer-to-peer resulted in a complete restructuring of that content. So we now have shifted our focus onto searching via products, surgeons, and discussion topics. There's also a new feature we're launching called KOL Corner. This is where visitors can access time-stamped video content that answers some of the key questions that we're asked on a daily basis. So really keep your eyes peeled for announcements imminently about this exciting new website.
Sounds great, Tim. I love the idea of KOL Corner. Sounds like a great way of getting our visitors to the content they came for. So I'm excited to see this launch. Thank you for all you're doing. We get great feedback for this platform around the world, and I'm extremely proud of what's being achieved. So thank you. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this podcast?
I do. So actually last year, 2022, Professor Findle set the target for the Congress to be carbon neutral. I mean, that's a mission we are all in on. So this year we've taken a number of steps to ensure we contribute to that mission even more than last year. So a couple of quick stats for you. So our booth this year is made of over 90% recycled materials, and actually over 80% of the components are actually being used from last year. And the other thing which we're doing this year, following its popularity last year, for every product inquiry made during the ESCRS, we're actually be planting a tree. Last year we planted over 1,000 trees, so I think that's a really great thing that we do here at Rayner.
I love those stats, and I love some tree planting, Tim. Just hope that you now don't spend all of 2024 planting them yourself. I think with that we can wrap. Tim, Anne, thank you. I think all three of us now have a good understanding of how our guests feel when we invite them to speak on this podcast. It's not as easy as it looks. Thank you to our listeners, and we really do appreciate your support. We've loved putting this podcast together. We will continue to create content that we feel is relevant and valuable and interesting, and continue to push it out on this podcast. So thank you for listening, and I hope you subscribe and continue to listen. We look forward to seeing you all in Vienna. Again, we'll be in the main hall, booth 303. Safe travels, and see you all soon.
Thank you for joining us for this special episode of Peer2Peer, the podcast. If you haven't already subscribed, do so now in order to be notified when our next episode launches. For more information about this episode's topic and to read the show notes, visit the Peer2Peer hub at rayner.com/peer-to-peer. This podcast is provided for general information purposes only. The presenters' views are their own. Rayner does not endorse off-label use. Users must refer to the product labelling and instructions for use for Rayner products in all cases. Not all Rayner products are available in all countries. The full disclaimer can be found in the show notes.